Hello Internet, my name is Elizabeth Heinrichs, and just to preference this video, it's going to be very informal. No editing, just me talking to the camera. I wanted to talk about my experiences with the pandemic. Little background, I graduated from high school class of 2020. So as of today of recording this, I am 19 years old, and when the pandemic started, I was 18. Yeah, I was 18, and I was getting ready to graduate. I was in the production of Wizard of Oz for high school. I was one of the highest of my grade. I had good grades. I was currently trying to seek psychiatric help for a lot of academic issues I was having. And I was hearing about COVID, and I really did not want it to happen. I was very vocal about it. I didn't want to graduate late. I wanted to graduate on time, pretty much. When the 2 weeks were first announced, I was like, okay, I'll just study from home. And I did. And the weeks kept pouring on, kept being added up until the next thing I knew, I was getting an award digitally from my superintendent because it was my award ceremony. I got a digital file, and it got sent, and I got to pick it up later. And next thing I know, I'm dropping off all of my senior supplies via drive-through. And next, I am picking up my diploma. I got to have an in-person recording of my graduation walk, but that's it. I got a photo. The photo didn't come out good. I didn't get to see my friends. I didn't get to have a big prom. I didn't get a lot of things. And then the next thing I know, it's gonna be a lot of those. I'm sitting on my couch watching myself walk across the stage as they announce my name. And after 30 minutes of people walking past, I hear fireworks outside. I put my mask on, take my graduation cap, walk into the street, and I throw it in the air. And that's how I graduated. The next few months were quite hard. My parents could still go to work, but they had to be really precautious. A lot of companies didn't make a lot of money, so we couldn't get paid as well. Our insurance got worse, and my physical health got worse. Another little background, I have chronic pain and a lot of mystery illnesses. It's a fun time. And because of that, I pushed myself to get a job. I wanted to get any job I could because I needed to make money. I needed to make money to survive. And after going on Google and putting my name on every single application flyer I could ever find, I got hired as a housekeeper at a retirement home. At the time, it sounded like a dream job. I could clean, listen to music, and be done. It was a part-time job, be done in a few hours, go home and play video games and do college work, because by then I was in a community college getting my general education. I couldn't go to a university because none of my friends could go to university. They were either taking community college classes or they were doing everything online. But also, I never picked in a university. I couldn't figure that out, and so I went to my community college. At this job that I got, it was some of the hardest hours of my life. I only worked there a month, just a preference, and I saw more death in that short period of time than I've ever seen in my entire life. I saw more pain, suffering, so much. And I saw all of it through a face shield and a face mask and PPE. I disinfected rooms with bleach. I heat treated linen to get rid of COVID. I cleaned out beds where people had died so a new person can take their place and die in the exact same bed as them. I saw people on oxygen machines and oxygen masks. I saw people who had dementia and were so confused. I made friends with some of the people. So in a matter of a few days, I made a friend and I lost them. I cleaned more things than I ever had in my entire life. I saw more tears fall, more blood shed than I had ever seen in my entire life. And I've worked as an animal handler for free, never got paid for it. And there's a lot of death in that line of work where you see an animal die and that hurt. And you grieve for it, but then a day passes and you have to take care of another animal. And that's how I started seeing things that scared me. This 60-year-old woman dies and her body gets dragged out in a body bag. And I am clocking into work. And it's as if nothing happened. It's as if no one was there in the first place. Rooms changing around when I wasn't there. People freaking out because they couldn't understand what was going on. People walking into their room saying housekeeping and being the only one that could comfort them because the nurses were so mentally and physically exhausted from all of it that they couldn't do anything for them. So I was the only one there that could help. After about a month of working there, I started having severe PTSD. I had flashbacks. I couldn't clean my house without hearing screaming. I couldn't go to sleep without seeing people in face masks, and my dreams turned into nightmares of people dying in front of me and me being the only one that could clean them up and take them away. So after a month, I turned in my resignation without a 2 weeks notice. I couldn't bear walking in there knowing I was leaving and seeing those people again. And reminder, I was 18. After this job, I decided to not look for any more jobs, even if that was going to financially harm me. As I said, I have medical problems, chronic pain and migraines, and a lot of problems. I opted to not go to the doctor, opted to cancel appointments, because I just couldn't bear to see my parents put their money on the table. Even though they still do, and I'm making my own money now, it's hard to get handouts from people sometimes. And it's hard to see someone take their hard-earned money and pay for something that you're causing. It's the easiest way to say it. When my birthday came, I turned 19. And the world didn't stop moving, but it felt like it did. Every paper I submitted for college sounded like a suicide note. Every email I sent out sounded like I was cursing the world. Every note and every text I would send my friends sounded like I was ready to end it all. And it wasn't true, but that's what was happening. By the end of my first semester of college, I got noticed that I would need to see a psychiatrist or a therapist, as a lot of my teachers were reaching out to the campus psychiatrist saying that I was not safe. I never was a harm to someone else or myself or others, but those notices kind of became a wake-up call, and I reached out to my parents so I could see a therapist. My brother was currently going to a therapist at the time for his own problems, and so when I approached them, they were 100% willing to take me. Before the pandemic started, I was actually reaching out to go see psychiatric help. I have had hints that I have neurological disorders, and I've never been tested, so I wanted to get tested. So of the new year, I started seeing a therapist, and within the first few visits, I get diagnosed with ADHD, autism, and PTSD. These diagnoses were more so affirming my thoughts rather than making me feel worthless. I was able to get medications and help to be able to understand what was going on, and I've been able to manage my schoolwork and my personal life because of it. But to think that almost a year to the date, I was planning what I was going to wear to prom 1 year, and then 1 year later, I get diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, and autism. And I've been working through that. And the thing that kind of sparked me wanting to make this video, I'm not going into that many details of the stuff that has happened to me, because I can make those details out later. I can make videos later. I'm still here. Is that what I'm going through right now? As 3 weeks ago, my dad started to get really ill. He was coughing a lot, sick, chills. I wanted to push it aside as just a cold, because out of everything I've seen, I wouldn't have been able to handle my dad getting COVID. But as my mom was getting symptoms, and my older brother, who doesn't live with us, brought an oxygen reader, and within 4 days of that reader being brought to my house, it had notified me that my father was going into organ failure because of how low his oxygen was. So I rushed into the hospital, and he got admitted, and he's been there ever since. A few days later, my mom was running a fever of 104, took her to the hospital. She ended up being released, but then about a day later, she had to go back due to complications of her pneumonia that she had developed due to COVID. And so, again, I rushed her to the hospital, and she's been admitted ever since. I have been vaccinated, but I also got COVID. It wasn't that bad. I barely felt a little bit under the weather. But now I sit here before you, 19, It's September, so it's around the time where I had that first job. And not only am I having to disinfect my house the exact same way I was in my first job, but I'm having to watch my parents go through the things that I saw the residents die from in less than 12 hours. One thing that I want to mention that I find quite funny is when I was in elementary school and middle school, I was bullied and I was ostracized. And one thing I would pray for is I prayed that something would happen. An earthquake, power outage, hurricane, typhoon. We don't even live that close to an ocean. Of something, tornado, so that school would be out for the rest of the year and I could stay home and I'd be safe. Those prayers built up on top of each other and they were answered in 2020. I think I prayed a bit too much. Life throws so many things at you that you don't expect. I didn't expect when I was 13 that when I turned 18, I would be at home watching my graduation. When I was a freshman in high school, I had a dream that I was going to sing at my graduation. I did, but it was a pre-recorded song and a video of me singing alongside other students. And my part was so small. And as I watched myself on the screen, I just wondered why. Why is this happening? I've always had the dream to become something, anything big. The dream to be the pride and joy of my family. I wanted to make a name for myself. And I stood in my street with my graduation cap in my hand, alone. No one could hear my voice. No one could hear me shout hooray because I didn't say it. The awards I won in high school are still in their package. The medals, I didn't even win any medals. The ribbons, the certificates, they're still in the box that they came in. The scrubs that I had to wear to work for my first job are now packed away. And in all of these things, I wished that my name would be remembered, but they're not. I wished that everyone would remember my face and remember who I was, the good and the bad, and now they won't be. Sure, I have 80 plus years in my life. But when life gives you lemons, the cut hurts more. Hopefully, this isn't going to be the end of my story. Hopefully my story continues for years and years and years. Hopefully I will have friends and a family that I can be proud of. A career and a legacy that my children can look to and see that I made it out alive. But for now, I'm a mentally ill 19-year-old with dyed hair, sitting in my childhood bedroom, talking to a webcam that my father bought me, who he himself cannot take care of himself anymore. I can't wait the day till I can look back on this and say, you had no idea what was coming. And you still don't know what's coming in the future, but your future became so much brighter. If you've stayed, thank you. I stream on Twitch, not as a self-promotion, but just as an explanation. At the end of every stream, even if there's no one there, because no one watches me, some people do, but typically the view count is 0. At the end of my streams, I make a note to announce to the world, whoever ends up seeing my video, that no matter what happens to you, no matter what pain comes your way, no matter who crosses your path, no matter who denies you for being you, at least there's someone out there that cares, someone out there that loves you, and that person is me. And another thing is, make sure you drink water, eat some of your favorite food, watch your favorite movie, do something that is just for you today. Make today special, whether it be a Monday or a Friday night, because you're worth it, and you'll always be worth it. Anyways, this has been me. Thank you for listening to me. And I hope I see you again.